Swans and Russian ballet are inevitably associated in many people's minds because of Swan Lake, which is the most inspired of Tchaikovsky's famous ballets, produced in the 1890s when Russia led the world of dance. And there's another reason, too, for making this association, which is often confused with Swan Lake, and that is the Dying Swan, danced by the legendary Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova. It was she who was the first person to take ballet far and wide beyond Europe. No town was too remote for her, no theatre ever too insignificant for her to appear in. To the general public, in the earlier part of this century, it was her name that symbolized dance. And she did have an extraordinary affinity with swans. A memorial service for Anna Pavlova is held each year on the 23rd of January at the Russian Orthodox Church in London. Although it is almost 50 years since Pavlova's death in 1931, her name is still cherished by old friends. And her young admirers are far too young ever to have seen her dancing her solo, The Dying Swan, to the music of Saint-Saëns. That is the only record of Anna Pavlova's voice, and it was filmed just here, in the garden of her home, Ivy House in London. Not long after her death, this memorial was placed in the center of the pond that used to be graced by her beloved swans. The garden's rather large and still very well maintained. It's sloping down the side of Hampstead Hill. I think she must have spent some of her happiest moments here on summer days like this with her friends and the animals and birds that she loved. At present, the Anna Pavlova Museum is set up here each Saturday afternoon. There's the dummy her costumes were made on, and the old sewing machine, and some of the headdresses she wore in her ballets. And over there, the dressing table that she had in the Palace Theatre during her first London season in 1910. And beside it, one of those nostalgic old wardrobe trunks that everybody used to have when they traveled by boat. On the side here it says Cape Town. It seems that Pavlova used to have 20 of those when she traveled. And some of the furniture that she brought from St. Petersburg when she first took this house. There's a photograph of her here, sitting in perhaps this chair. There's something marvelous about all her photographs. I think any dancer can learn so much just from studying how the angle of her head is always expressive of the character she's portraying, and the movement of her arms and her body, completely graceful and soft and expressive. I can't help trying to imagine the life of that extraordinary woman and artist who revealed the beauty of ballet to millions of ordinary people all over the world. It seems, when I think about it, that she really had very little life outside of dance from the minute that her mother took her to the ballet school in St. Petersburg when she was 10 years old. In due course, she graduated, and she was soon a quite exceptional success on the stage. Most ballerinas in Russia at that time would have remained securely in the imperial ballet, where they would be acclaimed by the Tsar and the noblemen and showered with jewelry and rich gifts. And that was her life for a time. 1912 seems to have been the real turning point in her life. That was when she and her husband bought Ivy House in London. And it was the only permanent home she ever had, although she was very rarely here, because for the next 19 years, she danced incessantly, touring the world with her own company. They covered 300,000 miles, visiting North and South America, South Africa, Europe, India, the Far East, and Australia. No town was too small or too remote for her to go to, and no one who ever saw her forgot that magical experience. This is her solo to the music of Rubenstein's Night. That was filmed in 1916 in California, when Douglas Fairbanks and Mary Pickford persuaded Pavlova to record some of her dances at their own studios. This solo, filmed in slow motion, is Rondino. Pavlova disregarded pure ballet technique when it suited her because she was only interested in being expressive. Virtuosity had no meaning unless it served the purpose of dance. And yet, at the same time, she had a speed and a strength which it would be hard to equal today. And these came from her training in the Imperial Ballet School, the same school that is now the famous Kirov School in Leningrad. The film called Children of Theatre Street shows how it is today. The original school was founded in 1738 by a French ballet master, Monsieur Landais, with 12 boys and 12 girls, the children of Imperial Palace servants. French is still the universal language for ballet, just as Italian is for music. Even the youngest pupils know that the step they're practicing is called temps lié, meaning steps joined together smoothly. It's an exercise for changing the weight from one foot to the other without losing balance. They'll practice this same step in more difficult forms as they progress to advanced levels, and they become graduate students preparing for their daily class to begin. All the teachers were themselves once students in the school and ballerinas on the stage. Now they hand on their knowledge to younger generations, helped by the pianist, who's an institution on her own, loved by everyone. She's played for so many classes, watched so many young dancers rise to fame, that she knows every movement by heart and understands exactly what music the teacher wants. Everyone is equally involved in this daily pursuit of perfection. That's the Kirov tradition. Here is the fountainhead of a style in training that directly or indirectly influences all ballet, to east and to west and across the oceans.